The Creators Circle is a weekly call for creators like you to ask your questions about the law of attraction. To get information on how to connect, please go to cocreationcoaching.org/Creators Circle.
Welcome to the Creator Circle number 5, and we are here obviously as always to talk about law of attraction, to answer questions, and just to talk in general. So before I get started, if especially for those who are listening to this, if you want to get the transcript for this Creator Circle, or if you want to join future ones so you can ask questions, there's a form at the bottom of this post that you can sign up and receive the transcript and get the information for connecting in the future. So that'd be great. I always enjoy these it's such a small, kind of close-knit group, so it's cool. So today I am actually going to introduce a topic I've been thinking about lately, that I'll be probably talking either in the podcast or in the blog post next week. I'm not really sure which yet. I'm thinking the blog post. But I will introduce it a bit now, and we'll go from there. And, okay, so recently, you guys know I do a lot of, I don't know what you'd call it. I don't want to call it channeling. It sounds weird.
Oh, but you do. Just say it.
Channeling.
I do too. Wow.
Channeling, whatever. And so recently, especially when I'm working on a big goal, I'll say, hey, tell me what I need to do to get this goal. Okay. And I'll get usually some kind of advice. And I always joke, I always get to the next level of the law of attraction by asking that question. Tell me what I need to do.
Yep.
And I'll realize some new level, something else that I was missing that, is the next level and need to learn for myself and then apply and then teach others. I'll talk about here. So for some reason, that word do, what do I need to do, triggered something. Triggered some sort of my attention or the attention of the being I was talking to. And the response I got was, who said you needed to do anything? Well, wait a second. I want to do some things. I want to make sure I get it. And so basically what I got out of it was, and this happens a lot. We have a goal and we say, what do I need to do to get this goal? That question, do you think that arises from ego or soul?
Ego.
Yeah, ego, because you assume that you need to. Well, it depends on from where you ask it.
I'm going to say ego.
I'm going to say mostly ego.
Because, well, remember, ego believes in doing.
You got to do something.
You got to do something. That's why the response was, who said you need to do something? I said, oh, I don't know. And that threw me for a loop. I didn't tell you this at the time, Christine, but it really, we were about to go to bed that night.
You didn't tell me anything.
This is on either Saturday or Sunday, and I think Saturday night, and we were about to go to bed, and I asked that question. It was before bed, and I really pondered this as I was when I go to sleep. That's like my thinking time. I always tell Christine.
You never let me play with your hair.
I know. I need my space because this is my thinking time to kind of go within and parse through what I learned that day, and what I'm going to do tomorrow and in the future plans, things like that. So I was thinking about this, what if you don't need to do anything? Okay, and I don't want to be taken the wrong way. I'll explain what I mean in a second, at least what the sense I got was from this response.
What do I need to be in order?
Right, that's actually exactly it. Thank you, Justin. Who do I need to be to get this?
That's what I do, yeah.
Right? So it's not an ego thing. It's not this do. It's not what do I have to do to get this goal. That's not it. It's not an ego level thing. It's not something the ego can do. It's not something you can just act upon and make it happen. It's a, I don't know why, like my attention lately has been going, we've had the podcast on the core essences. We had,
oh yeah.
Yeah, we did Living from Your Core Essence.
that was last week.
Yeah, we had a podcast on karma and past lives.
Yes.
We had, I don't remember, we had a blog post on something about, your deepest desires, I think. I don't remember right now.
Yeah.
But, the purpose of life was our last blog post.
You're getting deeper and deeper.
And, we've had, like, all these things. And then, my blog post that I'm publishing today, being Tuesday, not when you're listening to this, was about self-forgiveness. And so I don't know what's going on with my head, but but I'm getting this deeper and deeper focus into this soul level manifestation. The soul level manifestation. Not that, like, okay, you can obviously, like, I'm not, like those people who say, oh, you don't really need the things you want. You can drop your desires and blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm coming at this from a more soul level type thing. So the answer was, again, who said you need to do anything? And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like I do. But as I thought about it, I thought, okay, when resistance comes up, I try to, even though I teach otherwise, I try to fight it sometimes because it's sort of our natural response. I try to do something with the resistance. And the response, when I channeled this, was like, that gives it validation. That gives it validation. Like when you're fighting that resistance, that just says this is real to the universe, right? You can't fight something that's not real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What's that?
I say, no, you can't. And what I've learned to do is to literally think through the words of the resistance and not give them any energy.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's weird. It's a weird feeling.
You just let it sort of flow over you.
But you actually, and I've just started doing it. You think through, okay, I know what you want to say. And then you go, all right, I'm going to just think through the words where there will be no energy.
There's no reaction.
Right. And then it just goes on through.
It just goes on through. And so that's what I've been working on is, okay, so the resistance comes up and I say, basically, I don't need to give this my attention. I don't need to do anything about this. The ego says, oh, there's this threat. Here's this threat. What if this doesn't happen? Okay. I won't say what it was here, but I had this thing where I was afraid of something not happening that I really wanted to happen. And so
I think I know what it is.
You do. So I kept thinking, what if it doesn't happen? What if it doesn't? And I knew if I obsessed, I was so I'm really proud of myself. I was so mindful about not, because I knew if I obsessed about this thing, I would sabotage it. Right? And I said, I'm not going to sabotage this. So every time the resistance came up, I said, my ego thinks this is a threat, but it, so it wants to react, it wants to defend, it wants to fight. In my soul, I don't have to do anything. In my soul, I can just be at peace. I don't have to do anything. This is just an illusory thought, that my subconscious is throwing my way. So, and then, so I thought, okay, well, if we don't need to do any, I know you can't take that literally, because obviously you have to visual. I've talked about momentum. I've talked about choosing your goal, but all that. So what I got when I asked about that, the response was, you're not doing it, you're being it, just like you said, Justin.
Mm-hmm, you gotta be it, yeah.
You're being it, you're having it. So I started saying, I choose to have my goal now. Doesn't mean I have to have it on the outside now. It means that I choose to have it on the inside now, and that's my choice. And because I'm an an infinite soul, I can do that right now. No delay. And when the resistance comes up, that doesn't mean I'm failing at having it. It means my subconscious doesn't like that because it's against its programming and whatnot, but I don't have to do anything about that. So I kind of happened upon this totally effortless way of manifesting, if you're really good at it.
Well, what I do is, like, I think something similar, but we talked about it, you energetically put it behind you like you've already got it.
Yeah.
And you let it hang on your back like you're carrying it already. It just sort of makes it feel normal. I mean,
Yeah, that's a nice kinesthetic way of explaining it.
Yeah. Like a backpack.
Yeah.
You just have it. What I do some NLP, and for me, I see the past as being off to my left. And so I'll put it off to my left. This already happened. It's labeled, it's filed, it's already happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll put it off to my left. And it feels more resolved. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's a really good way of doing it.
You know, you have to know we have this thing in NLP called timeline therapy. And you have to know where your timeline goes. You know, does it go front to, like, is the past behind you and the future in front of you, or is the past to your left and the future to your right? And the way you do that is ask yourself, okay, if I imagine an event tomorrow, where do I put it in my mental, in field? Where do I see it? If I think about an event yesterday, where do I see it? If I think of an event next week, and then last week, and then next month, and the last month, and the next year, and the last year, whatever. You don't have to do every single one of those. Just get a general idea how your timeline flows.
Mine is forward and backwards.
Yeah. I'm sorry for yawning.
Sorry.
I didn't mean to do that. And the other thing I do is, what does this, whatever it is, feel like right now? And then and then you take the next thing and you feel what it's like to not have it. Like, okay, this is what it's like. I want it. This is the stress that it puts on my energy. Right. And then you take it, put it behind you. At least this is what I do, and make it feel like right now.
Right.
And then I don't know. I just do these energy tricks.
Right. Exactly. So like my timeline goes off to my right, but a little, not directly left to right. Like it's sort of more, I would say, northeast, I guess, if that makes sense. Kind of at an angle.
Yeah, I get it.
Oh, yeah.
That's how my timeline goes. So
mine goes forward and up and backward and down.
Yeah, see that's exactly what I mean. So that's NLP, and
not much up, just a little up.
Right.
Just a little up. Yeah, for me, just a little up.
So that is exactly how that works. So if you take your goal, now if you imagine your goal right now, okay, I want everyone to do this. So if you imagine your goal and see where it falls in your timeline naturally. Go ahead, both of you do that.
Okay.
Where's the fall for you, Christine?
Just a little bit in front of me, but not much.
Okay. And what about you, Justin?
Which is weird because
it's a little in front.
Okay.
Oh, it's like
What if you take that and put it just immediately in your past, as though you got it like earlier today or yesterday?
I tried to do mine last week or last month.
Either way, yeah.
And I love that feeling. That's why I started. I love this exercise.
Exactly. So try that, especially for you, Christine. I don't think you've done this much. And how's it change things? How's it change the feeling? How's it change how you see it?
It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I almost feel like it's sort of split. So it's like half of it's in front of me and half of it's behind me.
And that's resistance usually. So what you do is you relax, don't fight it, but just slide the rest of it back behind you too.
Oh, okay.
You never want to fight your subconscious. Fighting it will, it's a stubborn, Christine, how stubborn am I?
More stubborn than I am.
So subconscious is a lot like me. I'm very stubborn. Someone tells me not to do something, I'm going to do it, right? That's what the subconscious is. If you fight your subconscious, it will push back and it will win. It will win. So you don't fight it. You coerce it. You convince it. So what happens to you, Christine, when you relax and just put the whole thing back?
It just slides in like a puzzle piece.
Yeah. How's the feeling change?
Just more peaceful, more
like
relief.
Resolved.
Yeah.
So that's it. Like that is having it. right? And you can use that little trick, or you can do, whatever you want to do. But that's NLP. I love NLP. But and so I thought, well, it's not a doing. It's just I'm going to choose to have it right now. I can choose. Look, okay. So my inner reality, my inner landscape is mine. Right. So, by default, maybe I look at my goal and maybe it's up in front or wherever it is in the future for you, and to the right for me or whatever. Maybe that's the default of my landscape, but it's sort of like, imagine you move into a new house. You move in, and by default, the yard's a certain way, the driveway's a certain way, you have, your backyard, and it's sort of just, you're like satisfied but not totally joyful about it. And the house could use some improvements, and, so do you move in and do nothing? Or do you move in and make it your own and hang up your pictures and posters and get it get the yard, get everything landscaped and do, put in things you want to put in and fix up things. And so that's your mind. You have, except in the reality, that costs a lot of money to do some of that stuff. In your mind, you just need a few minutes. You just need a few minutes to go in and say, okay, well, I don't like that goal over there. I want to put it back here like I've already done it. Okay, and when I think about this, I don't feel so good, so I'm going to release that. I'm going to let that go and minimize. I've talked about, those who are listening, I really recommend, like in the Art of Reality Creation class, 2.0, I talked about like the reality control room, and we talked about minimizing resistance. And so I'm going to minimize that and put it over there, throw that in the trash, so to speak. And you can cultivate your inner landscape however you want it to be, right? If you're not happy with what it looks like in there, you can change it. And it will, it has tendencies, just like outer reality does, so it will sometimes fight back a little bit, but just like we saw with Christine, kind of half here, half there, but you can relax into it and say, well, no, why don't we move the whole thing over here? And you might have to repeat that a few times and whatnot, but but you have that choice. You can take a few minutes a day, even 10 minutes if you want to, however long you want, and change your inner landscape to look how you want it to look. And, so, people might say, yeah, but, what's that do for the outside? Well, the outside is just a reflection of that landscape, of the inner landscape. So if you have that goal back in the past where you already feel like you have it on an internal soul level, then pretty soon, if that maintains that position, pretty soon outer reality has to match what you feel there, right? So pretty soon it's just going to effortlessly sort of slide into your reality, and you barely have to do anything. So it's not this you don't have to act against. I'm a big like Tao type of person, like you don't have to fight against reality. You don't have to fight against the flow. Remember our thing lately. You go into the flow and you change it from within.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't have to fight outer reality by taking a bunch of action. You don't even have to fight inner reality by trying to, squash your resistance and whatnot. You just have to, change very gently, very lightly, change your inner landscape. Decide what you're going to have now, decide how you're going to feel, decide how you're going to be, and then watch as everything else changes. Right? That's all it is. So it doesn't really require anything else because that's what it is. Yes, resistance, I'm making it sound easy. Resistance will come up, but again, you don't have to do anything. Resistance is really illusory. It's not really a real thing. It's just an imaginary thought that comes up, and your ego feels threatened, and it's your choice to believe that or not. If you believe it, then it's like weeds growing up in your garden. You know what I mean? And that's, if you don't believe it, they're not going to grow up. So that's all your choice. So it's this real effortless sort of thing where you don't have to fight reality. You don't have to do much of anything besides just have what it is you want to have right now, and continuously have that, and not let, the habits of your own thoughts take that away from you.
That's really worked for me. That energy thing, that energy methods really worked.
Yeah.
I can tell, you know.
Right. So that's how it worked. And for my goal, it worked out. I didn't sabotage it, because sometimes like I can tell, like, when I'm really obsessing, I'm going to sabotage it. I'm not going to go down that path. Right. I'm just going to, and in the last like couple of days, I really felt relaxed about it. I'm like, it's just, it's going to work out. And so, when it happened, it just sort of felt like I was really super excited, but it felt kind of natural also.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not, that's the biggest thing I learned when I was working through this was, it's not this big production. You don't have to do all this ego stuff. You don't really have to do much of anything. It's just the simple process of deciding to have it. Don't fight anything, but just slide into it,
Mm-hmm.
So that was the big thing for me. What do you think, Christine? Because I know you were trying it out.
That was really awesome.
Yeah.
I could do it for a lot of goals.
Yeah.
Just for fun, just play with it.
Exactly. That's the playful attitude, That's the kind of thing to do. I mean, I know I talk about goals and stuff, but being playful about it is really good too.
Yeah.
So
you gotta be childlike with these things.
Exactly, right. So, just
maybe like,
playful.
okay, like, well, what would happen if this happened? Or,
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a really huge thing. So that's been my thing. And like I said, I'll branch that out next week's probably blog post or something. But I just think it kind of hands-on, experience really helps to, trying to explain things. So yeah, that's where we are right now. So I think we're about up with time. But again,
that was perfect.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That worked. Yeah.
Very simple. So if you're listening to this again, if you want to get the transcript for this, you can sign up below. Or if you want to join future calls, also you can do that, and the transcripts will be sent to you.
Yeah, we love having people, so please join us.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We have a fun time on these calls.
We do.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's everything. So yeah, if and also obviously you can, if you want to leave a comment, we love comments. So let us know what you thought of this. And so I hope everyone has a wonderful week, and see you next week.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.